I realize that in our society, and especially in the West, in America, everything that we do in life is predicated upon our performance. Everything that we do, from the word go, from kindergarten on, from preschool on, it's about the A or the F. It's about the pass or the fail. It's about how well you do or how well you didn't, based upon someone's opinion. And what's really hard is that this becomes a part of our fabric deep down inside of us. This becomes part of who we are. And it's not even on purpose. It just happens because we become so indoctrinated with it. From the word go, when you're in kindergarten, it's all about getting the gold star or the black dot. When you move on, you start worrying about your grades and performing better, and you start moving into middle school and into high school, and you want to get the A or the F so that you can get into the better college. And once you're in college, you want to perform your best so you can get the best degree. Then after you get the best degree, you want to look for the best job. Then after you have the best job, you want to perform your best so that you can continue to move forward in that job so you can provide better for your family. And it never really stops. And what has happened in our society is that we've taken what we know about life and what we think life is supposed to be about and how we're supposed to live, and we take it to the Father. And we think that He looks at us the same way. So one of the scariest things we can do is bring this mentality to Him. Because the Lord is a lot of things, but He is first Father. And you're like, well, how can you say that? I'll give you an example, at least from me, okay? Like my daughter, she's a year and a half now, and I'm going to be a lot of things to my daughter throughout her life. I'm going to be her disciplinarian. I'm going to be her judge, jury, and executioner. I'm going to be all these things to her. I'm going to be love to her. I'm going to be all these things. But at the end, the first and foremost, I'm her dad. I will be her friend sometimes. I will be close to her. I'll be somebody who she can talk to. But first and foremost, I will always be her father because she is my offspring. She is my daughter. I will be this first 100% of the time to her. I'll have to sometimes step into other things and bring the hammer down. Or I'll have to sometimes step into other moments and be a friend and listen. But at the end of the day, I'm her dad. So this whole pass and fail idea, I started meditating on it when I had this vision. I was taken into this vision one time, and I wish I could tell you about some of the visions the Lord's given me over the years. Some of them are really, really crazy, but this one was really simple. And I was taken into this vision where I saw this young child, and in this vision, I just inherently knew that this child happened to be autistic. And I saw this child draw a picture. It was a coloring picture, and he was coloring a lot like my daughter. He was just scribbling everywhere, and it's just everywhere. Nothing's in the lines. It's just a mess. And I saw him take this picture and bring it to his father. And he gave it to the dad, and I saw in that moment one of the most important revelations I ever had. And I saw the child hand it to his father, and the father lit up with joy, complete and utter amazement and joy and happiness towards what he just got. And I thought for a second that it had to do with what the son brought, but it actually had nothing to do with how good it was. It had everything to do with who he was. You guys following me? Had nothing to do with his ability to make something pretty. It had everything to do with who he was as a son. This is the same way as it is with us. What we bring to the table is not that much. Our performances normally aren't that great. What we got in the scheme of things, it's okay. But it's not about what you can bring. It's about that you brought it. Are you following me? So I remember coming out of that, and I was a mess, man. I just remember seeing that because I saw, if you could have been there and seen the Father's face, you would understand how the Lord feels about you when you bring your mess. And in those moments, it doesn't matter about the A or the F or whether you passed the test or whether you didn't. It just matters that you did it. But for some reason, society has told us that how we're doing is predicated upon our performance. So a lot of people live their life, especially Christians, feeling like failures because they're never good enough, they're never holy enough, and they're never worthy enough. Spend their life trying to please God when God's already pleased with them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been created. If you weren't pleasing to him, he wouldn't have created you. Anything that he makes is perfect. I praise him, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Fearfully. Fearfully. So the Lord created you with great care, a reverence, and thought. Fearfully and wonderfully made. I always heard the wonderfully, but I never understood the fearfully part, that he actually took great care and he took a reverence almost in creating a creation. That's crazy to me. Fearfully and wonderfully made. Everything the Father does is perfect. He doesn't do anything outside of perfection. From beginning to end and from end to beginning, he is perfect. Absolute perfection. Everything that he does is perfect. So what does that say about you? Immediately, I felt the red flags go up all over the room. Immediately, I felt 40 people's minds just get completely offended. The Lord doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't make mistakes.